What is going on, everyone? It is Dallas week. It doesn't really feel like Dallas week, though. I will not lie to you. Maybe it's because we're a little frustrated as Eagles fans. The Cowboys are a little frustrated as well since they dropped 3. But it definitely will be interesting. The rivalry is there, and as we creep towards Sunday, you'll start to feel it more in your stomach. There's no denying that. But there are some topics to talk about with the Birds, and the Jalen Ramsey discussion is not going away. Actually, there's more to even talk about because there's tweets being fired off last night about some locker room problems based off of not getting the job done. I am here today with Ant Miggs. The guy is a beauty living out in California. Now, this is what I think is so special. We created a friendship just based off of him enjoying my content. He's not the first one. There's many of them. But we created a relationship, a friendship based off of that. And it's so cool to have him on my podcast, text him every day when games are going on. How is this happening? Freaking out about the Flyers. It's just great stuff. So, Ant, thank you so much for coming on. How do you feel right now? Just overall, we'll dive into those topics, but how do you feel right now with the Birds headed into Dallas week?
Hey, man, thanks for having me. This is awesome. Hopefully the first of many. I feel great about this week. I'm a huge Eagles fan all the time. I'm through and through. I'll go 17 weeks. If we don't make the playoffs, it is what it is. I'm a ride or die. I'll see you at the finish line. I have Cowboys friends here in LA, and I can't take it. So this is a big week for me. Since Sunday, I've been ready for this one. And I'm looking forward to kicking some ass on Sunday, honestly, going into Jerry's world and handling business.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And see, I like the fact that you threw in, like, you'll ride with them, you'll die with them. I feel the same way. Don't get me wrong. I do the same thing. I love them, but I'm more of a, if we're 4-10 with 2 weeks left, I'm like, screw them, get out of my face. But I feel like you'd sit there at 12:30 watching pregame, getting ready to go. Like, of course I would watch them too, but you have more, I don't know, more positivity than maybe I would at that moment.
I've seen a lot of losing, man. I'm 30, and thankfully we saw a Super Bowl, but before that, it was brutal for me. And, hey, man, now it's kind of like smooth sailing. We got that out of the way. Just hoping for dubs now, man.
That's awesome. All right, so let's get into this a little bit. Well, actually, before we do, I just want to throw this out there that you do have a podcast that you're making yourself, and you're actually going to use this on that podcast, which is awesome to me. It is the Homies Podcast, right? And it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Those are where
I'm all
located.
over, yep. Available everywhere, yes. The Homies Podcast. We talk about Philly sports, all sports, week to week, NFL. We're going to jump into NBA when it starts. My dad fights ALS. I'm hoping to have him on some podcast so we can, shoot the shit about the Sixers, the Lakers, Clippers. There's a lot going on. So other than football, we touch on everything. So
awesome. Yeah, you mentioned ALS, and I've reached out to you before about this. Sometime in the future here, we will put together a little something for ALS and make sure we attack that the right way. But let's get into some Eagle stuff. Let's get into the hot topics. And Jalen Ramsey is definitely the hottest topic. I want to discuss how this fan base, I think, just overreacted when the tweet went out that he was traded to the Rams. I mentioned a million times because it's funny how people listen to things. They only hear what they want to hear. I stated a million times, yes, I would have done the deal for 2 1s and a 4th. Absolutely. I also don't think it's the worst thing in the world considering we have so many holes. We need to draft players and fill these holes. The only way to do it, once you pay your quarterback big time money, the way you succeed is by doing the drafting method. You have to draft these players. So how do you feel about not getting Jalen Ramsey?
It hurts, but I understand it. He's definitely the best corner in the league. We're hands down. But I feel like the Eagles can replace that. Jalen Miller coming back this week. I know he won a ring. He hasn't seen some action in a while. I'm excited to see what he has. But Jalen Ramsey's in my city of LA, and no one even cares. And as a Philly fan, I feel like if I was in Philly, we didn't get Jalen Ramsey, I'd be like you. I'd be up in arms. I don't understand it. I would have given 2 1s, 2 2, like whatever. He's the best in the game, and you can build around that. And I think the Rams recognized that, and they made the move. And now
Yeah,
they got
I think he is a game changer, but I just don't. I think people feel as if first rounders can just be thrown away at the same time. While they do have great value, and yeah, when you do get someone like Jalen Ramsey, is it really worth it? People want to argue, well, you can think you're using one of your first round picks on him, and it's really just a first and a fourth. I get all that, I do. I just think that there's so many holes with this Eagles team, and I know Jalen Ramsey will fix one of them, and will fix one of them for years and years and years, but I don't know. I'm okay with keeping the draft picks and building that way. I don't think we should rely on Mills, Darby. We shouldn't rely on those guys. I think Howie needs to go out there and make a move for a Peterson, a Harris. Then I'll feel differently about where we are.
I agree 1,000%. I was going to say Harris and Peterson are on the block. I mean, that's what they say anyway. But Jalen Ramsey's that dude.
Yeah, and I know. He is. He is a difference maker.
I'm okay with not getting him, but I'll remember this when we're in the playoffs and maybe we're struggling at corner or we're a little short at corner. We would have had that stud.
But see, this is where I think that's a little flawed because right now, like you're thinking of the right now in this very moment, right? And when you're a GM, I know people want to say, well, you got to win now. The window's so small. I just think that's overreacting because we won the Super Bowl. People have this mindset of we're in this dynasty. This is reality. We're not a dynasty. We're not the Patriots. We're realizing it's harder than what it actually is to be a dynasty. We're not a dynasty. We have a lot of holes. Like, this team is not built right now to win a Super Bowl. So, yes, there is problems back there right now, but when you're a GM, you got to think this through 2 years, 3 years, 4 years away and say, okay, where are we here? What do we have here? Looking at the depth chart in 2 years, what do we need to fill? Can this first round draft pick help you do that? So we are going to have problems in the secondary for the rest of the season. You just need to acknowledge that now. Jalen Mills getting here would help now, but that first round pick that you're giving up, those 2 first round picks, when we have other holes, you're going to be screaming, well, how do we fix that? Well, those first round draft picks could have been that answer.
And that's why I don't value draft picks so much. And that's why I honestly value Howie Roseman. I feel like he makes the right calls. I feel like he is patient and he does strike at the right time. And even when we're sleeping and we're not ready, it's like, boom, Howie did something huge and it's Howie season again. And we'll see if Patrick Peterson's on that radar, Chris Harris is on that radar. But I think he really wants to see what he has with Darby, Mills together when Avante comes back. Sendejo and McLeod and Jenkins. Oh, this last week it hurt me inside.
It definitely did. There was no communication with that defense. They were running around. They were all over the place. They were blowing coverages. It just can't happen. It can't happen from your top dogs, too. If it happened to Sidney Jones, you kind of laugh at this point, but you're frustrated. If it happens to guys that don't have a lot of experience, it's understandable. But when it happens to Malcolm Jenkins and Ronnie McLeod, it's frustrating because you rely on these guys to be the top dogs.
I feel like they were playing in the box a lot, stopping Cook, watching Cook, but Thielen and Diggs got free so many times. How many times did it take for you to press off, play in front of you, do that stupid Jim Schwartz defense? Getting to the quarterback.
I'm hit or miss on that because I do think he needs to put safety coverage over the top because you can't give up those 60-yard bombs. At the same time, though, you'd move those guys out of the box, and what would happen as fans if Dalvin Cook ran for 212 yards on us? We'd be freaking out saying, why can't we stop the run? Because that's what would happen. We're good at stopping the run because we have those safeties in the box. So, yes, you would rather give up the short yardage over the big bombs because those are killers emotionally. But if you see Dalvin Cook run for 178 yards on you, it's just as much damage at the end of the day because they're keeping their offense on the field and your offense is off the field. So it's you got to take and you got to give.
Absolutely. And our offense, I mean, when they're on the field, I feel like when they hit that drive and it's 3-8 and they do a run play or they do some wide receiver screen and the defense is back on the field, it's like, man, you gave yourself no time here. Your defense is exhausted and they're just passing the ball. Rasul Douglas running from behind. Sidney Jones running from behind.
Unbelievable. It really is. So how about
I'm ready
this?
for Dallas.
Yeah. Unreal. How about this? Gesina Anderson tweets last night. By the way, she is very close with Alshon Jeffrey. We know that. And she broke to the media last year that there were players unhappy with how the ball was being spread around because they were targeting Zach Ertz a lot. So she has background on tweeting about information with the Eagles. She tweets last night, Eagles player to me on Jalen Ramsey going to the Rams. We dropped the ball. I don't even want to talk about that. Enter explicit word here. Everybody knew what it was going to take to get him. I could have told you that. Now, is it ironic that he said, we dropped the ball? Does that mean it's a wide receiver? Get it? That was obnoxious.
Aguilar.
She has ties with Alshon Jeffrey. I'm not saying she's making it up because I don't think she would do that. I just find it funny that there's a team member in there that is clearly disappointed. Now, you have to put context around this. Was this person spoken to 3 minutes after the trade went down? 5 minutes after? A day? 2 days? How long was it when she spoke to this person? Because if she caught someone's reaction within 1 minute of the news breaking, I could see a little bit more frustration than if it was 30 hours later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It makes sense. Gesina is very, very, she's high on my list. I always like what she has to say. She's always in tune with the league, with the players. But when it comes to the Eagles, I feel like the locker room is a very tight-knit group. And when Zach Brown did his thing and they were like, nah, later, Gator. I feel like they have that same aura around the whole building. And I don't know which player said that. I don't have an idea. Maybe it is a receiver. Maybe Alshon. Maybe defensive backs. But
do you put stock into this? Are you concerned that there are now people who are maybe internally questioning Howie Roseman?
No, I don't, because we've won before. They've won together. They understand the bond that it takes to win football games. Doug Peterson is very great about rounding the troops together, giving each other, just going forward with each other. And when something like this happens in the locker room, it's taken very seriously, and they have to act on it. And I think they did that internally. I don't know if they're going to let anything else come out of this, but the Jalen Ramsey thing is huge, and it's more than we think it is.
Yeah, you made a good point that this organization and Doug Peterson, they do have a great culture. If there is one locker room to kind of take this and address it, this isn't an organization that sees this and, all right, let's just all walk away, whatever, someone's upset. This is the type of organization that would probably bring everyone in together. Hey, do you feel this way? Why do you feel this way? Let's talk this out. Let's communicate. Let's not just throw this under the bus. This is a pretty big story, though, I think. Originally, I thought, come on, really? We're doing another one of these? But if we're questioning now what we're doing moving forward, there are players in there, and I would assume this is a respected player. This isn't some random dude, Alex Singleton, right, who just got called up, or Nate Gary. It's not one of those. This seems as if, and I would expect this to be a bigger name, and if it's a bigger name who has a lot of say in this organization, it's something. It's something, because they are now questioning our GM and where this organization is headed as a future.
Oh, we know there's a hole in the secondary, and it could have been Malcolm, wanting help, It could have been Fletch. Hey, we got to get some more pressure to the quarterback, but we need man coverage outside, and we need someone to press those receivers at the line. Don't let them explode at the top. It's tough, man. Honestly, I just want it to go away. I want Patrick Peterson to come save us. I want Chris Harris to come save us, help put the Band-Aid on for a little while. But watching Sidney Jones and watching these guys week to week is tiring. I respect the hell out of them for balling out, trying their hardest, but
No, don't say that. Listen, no.
Coming up short.
That's too soft on this podcast, bro. You can't be saying you respect Sidney Jones going out there and working hard. You're a second-round pick.
He tore his Achilles.
No, he has the Markelle Fultz effect mentally. You got to be brutal here. This is a brutal podcast, right? He stinks. We messed up, and this is the thing. The Eagles aren't going to just cut Sidney Jones at any point. Like next year, they're not just going to cut Sidney Jones and admit that they made a mistake. He will be here because they don't want to admit that they made a mistake. And I was in the shower yesterday. You ever have those shower thoughts? I know how I just transitioned to that very, very randomly, but you have those shower thoughts, right? Would Sidney Jones work on the inside if we ended up getting an outside corner? I don't know. This is me just thinking, I wonder how Sidney Jones is going to work in this defense because I know they're not going to cut him. That's what I think about in the shower. And
I sing in the shower.
No, I can't. I don't have good vocals. Well, okay. As I'm as I'm on sports here with the vocals, I guess I don't have a good singing voice, if you will.
Not yet.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we'll make a new channel, Music with Bros.
There you go.
But I don't know. I don't want to take away something from Avonte Maddox, who seems like he's a good slot receiver. Cravon LeBlanc. Like, I'm not putting much stock in Cravon LeBlanc coming in and saving this. And these cornerbacks are a mess, damn it. That's what I'm getting at here.
Absolutely, 1,000%. And they're just looking for answers, and they're trying to do it internally. And Jalen Mills could give them that spark this week. Ronald Darby could get the spark this week. But, hey, no Amari Cooper for Dallas, maybe. So.
Yeah, that brings us into our next point here. The Cowboys are banged the hell up, and
we are too.
We are too. But the Cowboys might be even worse than us. Now, they have a lot of injuries on their offensive line, which is huge. I saw some stats talking about how much Dak Prescott has been pressured over the last couple games and has been monstrous compared to early in the season. We know they played different teams. They started out with an easy schedule, and they're playing tougher opponents now, so obviously that plays into a factor here.
The Jets.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. But yeah, no, like they have some holes, and they're banged up with their best wide receiver, and their offensive line is a mess. Now, we're not getting defensive pressure, so is that going to even out? I don't know. One thing, though, we also have an injury on our offensive line, and Andre Dillard is getting his first start in place of Jason Peters. This will be a tough task. They do have a good defensive front. He will be going up against some good talent. This will be interesting, and he played some time last week. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was awful. He had moments. You need to know going into this that this is his first attempt here playing legit minutes in the NFL. When he's going up against this serious talent in the Minnesota Vikings defensive line, he's going to have some miscues and some problems here and there. You saw that. But I also saw some good stuff as well. It should be a good test, and I think as Eagles fans looking for our left tackle of the future, you got to watch that all game long.
No doubt. I'm very happy we got Dillard. I know it's not the sexy pick in the draft, but we needed to shore up that left side. Carson's got to stay upright. He's got to stay healthy, and it starts with the left side. And I'm excited to see Dillard versus Hope. Man, I just hope Dillard can stay upright. I hope Sam Malo isn't trash. I know what we get from Kelsey and Brooks and Johnson always hold it on the right side, but we have to pull the center and go to the left side and just pound Howard, man. Pound Jordan Howard the ball. I don't know why they pound him enough, but...
Well, here's the problem offensively. I do agree we need to run the ball and create some sort of flow with our offense, and that goes on Doug Peterson because he did a horrendous job. I mean, arguably the worst coaching game I've ever seen out of Doug Peterson. We need to get these players going offensively, wide receiver-wise. When we have Miles Sanders, the guy who never caught the ball in college, being our most explosive guy, that's an issue. So we got to find a way offensively to create something. Now, the linebackers for the Dallas Cowboys have been struggling. Their defense wasn't as good as they were last year right now. Like, the fans are pissed off because their defense isn't as elite. So there are opportunities there to make some plays offensively. I think as the week and the weekend comes, you'll start to feel it a little bit more. It is Thursday, so we are creeping towards it. It didn't seem that way. I guess maybe because Monday, Tuesday, you're still reacting to Minnesota. It takes a little bit to get over that horrendous loss. Maybe if we won the game, we'd be a little more juiced up knowing that Dallas lost as well, so we'd have some momentum going into the week. But because both fan bases are so disappointed and so frustrated right now, that could play a big factor on how we feel. But once it hits Friday afternoon, you're leaving work. It's Saturday morning. You see college football, right? Like, and maybe because we got to wait till Sunday night. It's not a 1 o'clock game. It's an 8:20 game, so you got all day to sit there and wait for the game. But as the week continues to close out here, we'll start to get that extra sense of,
I agree.
juice. Yeah.
It's for first place, man.
It is. That's a big time thing, and it's, I think, huge because it might come down to the division winner. I don't know if we're going to get a wild card in the NFC East the way this has started out.
Not sure. The NFC's like weirdly, it's not loaded, but it's strange. The Saints and the Panthers, they're kind of like hanging around that division. Then it's us and the Cowboys, and then the NFC North is loaded.
Definitely.
The NFC West has got some talent too with the Niners and the Seahawks. I don't know, man. I think we have to win the division. I think this game's going to get important. Like you said, Friday, Saturday, we're going to start getting itchy.
Definitely. This is going to be important. This is a division where I hate to even say 9-7 might win the division. 10-6, 9-7, that might actually get the job done, and it is important. And we're in the toughest stretch of the schedule because when you look at the back end, you have Washington, the Dolphins, the Giants a couple times. So it does open up. We got to take care of business right now in this stretch. So
yeah, we got the Giants twice.
Yeah. And they got the Daniel Jones spark, but they're still a bad football team at the end of the day. So
I'm not sold on the Giants.
Me neither, but it's a division game, so anything can happen in those division games.
You need those wins. We need the wins in that, You got to beat the teams you're supposed to.
Definitely, and that's what we haven't done so far, because you look at the Atlanta Hawks. I forgot. They don't play football.
Trey Young.
The Falcons, that's a bad loss. It's a bad loss.
It is, and I can't stand watching the Falcons anymore. I'm over it. I don't know how Dan Quinn has a job still. When it comes to primetime receivers, man, I don't get it. I don't get Julio Jones. I don't understand Mike Evans. Like, how are these guys not force-fed the ball? Doesn't make sense to me. I'd only target them.
Yeah, well, because the defenses know they're their only weapon, so they make you beat the other ways, I guess.
That's true. Well, this week, Julio versus Ramsey.
Oh, how about it? All right, cool. Well, I thought this went very well. Thank you so much for hopping on here and discussing some birds with me. I thought we got a lot accomplished here, and we'll see how this goes. I'm a little nervous, I'm not going to lie, but I think Cowboys fans are nervous too. It's a toss-up, in my opinion. Whoever comes and shows up, like, we're both in the same position, so one team just has to step the hell up.
I agree. It's going to be a big week. We'll see what Dillard can do for us on the offensive line. We'll see if we can get some run balls created. Run the ball to Jordan Howard. Man's a beast, man. I don't think he gets enough credit. He moves the sticks.
He does, and he creates opportunities for this team, because if they run the ball and it's maybe 2nd and 6 instead of 2nd and 10 on a completion that, or a reception that wasn't completed and all that, it puts us in a better position to be 2nd and 6 rather than 2nd and 10, or 3rd and 2 rather than 3rd and 8. You know what I mean?
I agree, and it allows us to play action and get Carson, outside the pocket a little bit, which is important, because when he does that and gets that extra second to make a play, he makes the play, man. Just don't take the hit, make the play.
Absolutely. You made a great point with him coming out of the pocket. He is smooth when he's not sitting in the pocket. He's on his ability on the run, that Zach Ertz catch. How about the one with Alshon Jeffrey on the sideline? See, I watched the replay of that 3 million times. Alshon Jeffrey just fell out of bounds. Like, that's a touchdown. That's a touchdown, and that's Alshon Jeffrey. How is that happening?
And that would have been a tie game. I think that would have been 24-24 had he scored. Just run a straight line, man.
Unbelievable. All right, well, we're going to end this here. Once again, I thank you so much for hopping on with me.
Thanks for having me, man. It was a blast.
Absolutely.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you on the next one.